I'm Trevor.
And I'm Nick.
Welcome to Nerdy Cinephiles.
Enjoy the file. All right, guys, we're back with episode number 3, but episode number 2 in our DCAU review, which means today we're going to be talking about Justice League War, one of the better episodes in the series, in my opinion. I'm really excited. This is one of the better Justice League movies. It rivals the original DC animated show, and just the chemistry in this movie, it's going to be great. And Trevor's going to run down the movie for us. I'm going to be responding to some of his points, and I can't wait to get into it. Let's do it.
So this is a movie that I have just been really excited to talk about. I mean, we did say in our first episode how Flashpoint was the thing that really kicked it off, but I think this is the movie that really just sets up everything. I mean, we have returning voice actors, we have similar animation styles, and just the start of a build to just one continuous universe, which I'm just so excited to see. There's so much stuff that they just kind of try. They don't pander too much to fans who might not be too familiar with the DC properties. It's it seems like this movie and also upcoming universe is more catered to fans who are just fans of DC and know their stuff, at least have a base knowledge on the heroes and their origins, who some of the villains are, and yeah, I'm just really excited to talk about this. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts on the whole thing, Nick?
yeah, no doubt. They get right into it with this movie. And like you said, Flashpoint is technically the start of this universe, but this movie really is the first movie in this universe. It introduces us to these versions of these characters fresh off of Flashpoint, and this is where we start to meet our the cast for the rest of the series. And like you said, the animation style, we'll get to used to this. It's pretty much the same animation style throughout. There is a few movies down the line that kind of stray away from it a little bit, but this animation style is one of the better ones. The costume designs and storylines are ripped right out of New 52, which is the first time we get to see New 52, or the New 52, brought to life in live action or animated world. So it's pretty sweet. The New 52 has a lot of good stuff in it, and they did a really good job of adapting it.
Yeah, I mean it's a really this movie is like really fast paced, but it's also very exciting and just easy to follow. But it still just keeps you entertained the whole time, and I'm just really excited to be reviewing this. Uh,
Yeah, no doubt. The only sad part is we do lose Kevin Conroy, but Jason O'Mara, wow, he lives up to it. He does a great job as Batman. Like if I can't have Kevin Conroy, I would probably have to go with Jason O'Mara because he does a great job, even though we all want Kevin Conroy, but this voice cast does not let down.
no, not at all. I mean, if Kevin Conroy was not a thing, uh, Jason O'Mara would just be fantastic. Um, I will say they do end up changing the voice of Superman, which in future movies he's fantastic. In this one, he's also fantastic. He was voiced by Alan Tudyk in this movie,
Hmm.
and
Legendary voice actor.
fantastic voice actor. But he was fantastic in this movie, and not to worry, the voice actor, which we'll get into in the next movies once it officially changes, he's just as good, if not better in certain aspects. But I mean, the cast they have for this, as far as voice actors, and we'll go on, as the movie proceeds. But yeah, I just can't get over how excited I am that we get to talk about this. This is the start of the new universe, and there's just so much awesome stuff. Any other thoughts before I get into the plot, Nick?
No, I think we should just get into it.
Awesome. So the movie starts with a news reporter just talking about a bunch of random abductions from what they believe to be Batman, and we get this creature scooping up this woman, and Green Lantern shows up, being the first hero we see in this movie, and we soon realize that it's a parademon, and he disposes the parademon kind of quickly. And one thing I gotta say, just before proceeding with the plot, is Green Lantern in this movie um, was just he's just very comedic, and all of his lines just hit at the right time, and just he's just a funny guy, just a smartass the whole movie. He ends up saving the woman, brings her to the top of a building, and leaves her there. And her question is, "How do I get down?" And he's like, "Not my problem," as he continues to pursue the parademon. And it's just kind of that smartass comedy that I personally find funny. Nick, what are your thoughts on Green Lantern in this movie?
I mean, yeah, I know you're a big Green Lantern guy. I personally, I'm indifferent. I mean, obviously, I like Green Lantern. I mean, I'm a big DC guy. There's not a superhero I don't like. So it's not. I'm not really as picky about my Green Lantern. I grew up on John Stewart. I kind of like him a lot, But Hal Jordan's cool, and it seems to be like a really young and eccentric Green Lantern here, and he doesn't know much about other superheroes. It kind of feels like he just got his ring, but
Yeah, I assume this is like him a couple months, or like he's just kind of becoming Green Lantern, but he only just recently like learned how to use the ring, because the constructs he uses are pretty cool. In the beginning of the movie, he uses like a dragon construct to try and wrap up the parademon, which I thought was like really creative, and something more along the lines of like Kyle Rayner to use. Because Hal Jordan uses more basic designs of constructs, like a baseball bat, um, a baseball glove, and a boxing glove, like certain things like that, like very basic. But yeah, so
yeah.
oh, go ahead.
And as far as like the comedy goes, he does have a very like Flash type of comedy here, and it works. It works well. He like Hal's a pretty lighthearted guy, and he's a really lovable character in here. He's not really that polarizing.
Yeah, I mean, he was a lot like funnier and just more of a smartass than he is in the comics, but I think it's the voice actor who I'm not sure of the name, but if Nick you know of it, um,
Yeah, Justin Kirk.
okay,
Really, I don't know him from anything else, but I mean, hey,
he did
he
a
did
great
great.
job in this. I mean, a lot of the lines, if I were to just read them as far as the script, I'd be like just kind of about the whole thing, but his delivery was just good, and it actually made me chuckle at a few times. Um, and yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give some praise to him for giving something out of Green Lantern that I really never expected, at least the version of Hal Jordan. So,
Yeah, and as you read along through the plot, you will quickly realize like Green Lantern and Batman's relationship, and as it grows through this movie, it's one of the better relationships in this movie we get to see, and the dynamic together that they work together is like it's awesome. It's cool to see.
yeah, and I don't think that's a dynamic we really get to see in comics, but moving on.
Yeah, no.
Um, so, as Green Lantern is chasing the parademon is just taken out for a second by some mysterious figure, which we find out to be Batman, who I thought it was kind of funny that Batman just immediately tries to question him. And he's just like, "What are you doing here?" Or no, he says, "I saw you at the docks. What are you doing?" And the parademon tries to shoot a fire blast out of his mouth. And Batman and the parademon get into a skirmish. Green Lantern, just being cocky, just kind of hops in, and they end up chasing the parademon into the sewer. And what I thought was really surprising about this is Green Lantern meets Batman, and his first thing that he really says is, "Wait, you're real?" So I thought it was really unique in this universe that really nobody like I have to do some kind of like I have to look up something as far as like seeing how long Batman has been Batman at this point, because Green Lantern doesn't even know who he is, and Batman at this point is also being hunted by the GCPD. So he's kind of, I assume, in
Yeah.
the earlier states of being a hero.
Yeah, I'd say so for sure. And there's a few different iterations where early on in Batman's career, obviously the police hate him and that he's kind of a myth type character. So it's kind of cool to see them reference that here.
Yeah, I mean, I assume he's probably like, 2 years into it because he seems pretty adept to handling most of the situations throughout this movie, just through combat and being a tactician. But then again, he's running from the cops still. Heroes don't know who he is. But anyways, so when they're in the sewer, I will say this might be some of my not my favorite because my favorite's coming up soon, but this is definitely a close second to probably my favorite moment in the movie is when Green Lantern and Batman are in the sewers together. And sorry, I'm just chuckling at the thought of it. Um, Green Lantern is just kind of shining his light in the sewers, and Batman just tells him to, hey, turn it off before he get caught. And he, Green Lantern, makes a few jokes at Batman, just, referring to him as just being a vampire. He's like, "Oh, you're cranky. What? You didn't take your true blood tonight?" And Batman's just kind of silent throughout the whole ordeal. Green Lantern continues to question Batman, asking him, "Oh, what do you have? Super strength?" Batman's like, "No." Flight, and he runs down these list of powers, and Green Lantern just stops and he's just asks him, "Are you really just a guy in a running around in a bat suit?" And probably one of the first times in a while that I've actually seen Batman smile. He just turns around, just smiles at him, just kind of to almost assert his dominance. I just thought that was great.
Yeah, it's more of a cocky smile, isn't it?
Yeah, like, okay, you have this all powerful ring, and I'm just a guy, and I'm much
But
better
yeah,
than you.
yeah, exactly.
And probably the best part comes up right after that, where Batman just starts asking Green Lantern how his ring works, and he's like, "Let me guess, it's based off of concentration." And Green Lantern's hero costume powers down, and he's in his flight suit. And he asks Batman, "How'd you do that?" And Batman just responds, "You weren't concentrating." And again, another great comedic moment between these two is
Yeah.
Green Lantern just summons the ring back onto his hand, and he's like, "You won't do that again." And Batman just responds with, "Not unless I want to."
Yeah, man. Batman is so good here. It really goes back to like the iconic Kevin Conroy Batman. It really does feel like that, and it's just so good.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Again, I like these little comedic moments. They're just not campy, but I mean, they're acting more. Green Lantern's acting more childish towards Batman, and just Batman's just short, simple responses. Just were just great. And Batman just tells him to take his glow stick and go home, and Batman you know just continues to follow the parademon. They end up finding him, taking the mother box from the parademon, and then they start getting into discussion about how its origins might be alien, and then that kind of segues into the conversation about, and also our first name drop of Superman, who in this movie, I mean, I love the character design of the New 52. Favorite suit, hands down. I might even go as far as saying it's better than the black suit from future movies.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the only one I would could think of that rivals it is I really like the Superman Beyond suit. But far as classic Superman suits go, the new 52 one with the collar and like the wrist guards that go up onto the hand, it's just so good.
Yeah, I mean the design, like yeah, the collar's awesome. Like I believe that the design on the wrists actually forms basically part of his chest symbol. Like it is the same shape of the outline of it,
Yeah, yeah,
which is
yeah.
just
Points down.
awesome. So yeah, they get into a discussion about Superman, and then we end up cutting to Victor Stone, or who will eventually be Cyborg, and he's trying to contact his dad, Silas Stone, just trying to get him to go to his football game. Which, I mean, that just seems to be the common trope with Cyborg. I mean, he's always been an athlete before he became actually the hero Cyborg, but it's always just boiled down to, oh, my dad doesn't want to watch me play sports. He loves science too much, and his dad just, is always a dick.
Yeah, we've seen this origin story quite a bit, and we're gonna see it again in the Snyder Cut. But I mean, this was one of the first ones to really go deep into it, so I can't give that much slack. And it is kind of cool to see it. It's one of the better incarnations of his origin. But yeah, it is what it is in this movie.
I mean,
Victor, yeah,
there's certain aspects that change here and there from, different uh forms of media, whether it be live action, animation, or like, what we got in the TV show Titans, which I will say right now, that's my favorite Cyborg design, live action. Like, I mean, we have two to go off of, but anyways.
yeah,
Um, but we get also a cut of seeing Billy Batson trying to sneak into Vic's football game, and he kind of pulls a little stunt where he walks up to the guard and he's like, "Oh, my parents have my tickets," and he points a couple behind him. Then as he goes to check the couple's tickets, Billy just sneaks in, and he ends up, watching the end of the football game, sitting in Silas Stone's seat, and you know, it's just very just average. Like, okay, well, here's an introduction to this character. I mean, nothing too important other than introducing the character of Billy Batson, who we'll
hmm
eventually be seeing later on.
yeah. And at this point, I was starting to think, well, okay, is he Shazam yet? Because if he is, it's kind of weird that he's acting this way. But
Yeah, just kind
we'll
of like
we'll,
a
we'll
piece of
answer
shit.
that later.
Well, I mean, you might be able to answer that for me because I eventually have some questions on that. um, and in the beginning of this movie, there's a lot of just jumping to different characters just to kind of get where they're at. We move right now over to Wonder Woman, who's in a limo with Steve Trevor, and he's talking about just how the government can kind of, I guess, form an alliance with Themyscira, and there's a riot, or not a riot, but there's a protest outside, and a lot of people are upset about just Wonder Woman's antics, saying that she caused like $100 million in property damage. They have a like a doll of her just being hung, and I will say I love the way they took the direction of Wonder Woman, how she talks like a thespian. Just, I
Yeah,
mean,
like a Shakespeare character.
yeah, like a
Yeah,
Shakespearan character. Yeah, just
yeah.
very
I
formal.
really like how Wonder Woman is portrayed in this movie for sure.
And she gets out of the vehicle, and she's the first thing she does is like, "Who are you upset at?" And she pulls out her sword and's like, "I will strike them down," or something along those lines. And then she looks and sees the doll, and she's like, "You're mad at me?" And like everyone just gets quiet because they're like, "Oh shit, she's actually here. We pissed her off. Like, what do we do now?" And one of the main guys leading the protest, she takes the lasso of truth, puts it around his neck, and he just
Yep.
blurts out the truth that he cross dresses as Wonder Woman at night because it makes him feel powerful. Which again, good
Yeah.
little comedic element. I chuckled at that.
Yeah. And I will say, like, just yet again, I'll say this a million times throughout this movie, but or throughout this whole series, really. Just the costume designs are so good. Like this is also probably my favorite Wonder Woman design. I love the arm sleeves and I love how her like her costume goes up into her neck.
Yeah,
Uh just that people need to take note about costume designs from this movie in New 52.
new 50. Yeah, new again. We're gonna be talking probably a lot about just like the visual design of like just the characters, or I guess character design. But yeah, new 52. It just it just hits right at certain points.
They got a lot of things right.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Then like after Wonder Woman calms down the crowd, we meet back up with Batman and Green Lantern, and Batman has a tracker on Superman, and Superman's fighting a bunch of parademons, and for some reason, Green Lantern just kind of wants to go talk to him, but he ends up pissing off Superman and tries to fight him. And this is all before we actually see Superman. And Green Lantern, we just see him getting rocketed through buildings, all this and that. And after Green Lantern just gets tossed right next to Batman, Batman tries to like run away, and Superman, in the first introduction we get of him, seems so unlike the character. He grabs Batman by the neck, pushes him up against the wall with super speed, and just asks, "So, what can you do?"
Mm.
I think,
Yeah, I didn't. My first impressions on him was very. I mean, he quickly becomes not this character. I mean, it's kind of just in this first scene where he's like this, until you know the turning point where him and Batman lay down arms. But we'll get there.
yeah, I mean, this was more of like, I mean, I'm glad they ended up changing it somewhat fast, towards the latter half of this movie, but I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like the cocky introduction of Superman.
Yeah, I don't
Just,
mind it.
it seems like since he was already like fighting some parademons and stuff, like he's all just full of adrenaline. He's just like ready for the next fight, and people have already kind of mistaken Batman for like a parademon, so he might think he's working with them or something. So he's just already ready to go, and he's just like, "Okay, what can you do? These guys have put up no challenge for me." So I mean, yeah. So he end up. I mean, he does end up like changing his personality, but I mean, did you like kind of, I guess, the cockiness of like Superman? Because I also assume that with him, he's probably only been Superman for like 2 years or something like that.
Yeah, because he doesn't even really know who the Green Lantern is, right?
Yeah, no, he
And
doesn't say
and
anything.
later on, he doesn't really know Darkseid either. So yeah, he's definitely on the younger side.
He doesn't even know
And
Wonder Woman.
yeah, no, I don't know really where the cockiness would come from, being from like the small town in Kansas. Maybe he's trying to play the part. I guess the part where it turns is when they're fighting and then he's flying towards Batman, but Batman's like, dude, like why am I even bother fighting him? Like he's not gonna kill me. Like he's
Yeah,
like, you don't kill, do you, Clark? And then
yeah,
that just shows that Batman already knows who Superman is, and knows his identity. Which I mean just makes this Batman more badass. He's already steps ahead of everybody.
yeah. He's already
And
like the greatest detective. So
yeah, and then Superman stops on a dime right in front of him. He's like, okay, he knows who I am. This guy's not really a joke. He knows he's calling my bluff. And he's kind of upset by it, I guess, because and then he looks right through Batman's mask and it's like, oh, okay, you're Bruce Wayne, so now we're even. They
yeah,
kind of got that mutual respect right there right off the rip.
yeah. Because there's like a scene where Superman's just like attacking Green Lantern and Batman, like when they're in Green Lantern's bubble.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bubble
and then
thing.
they, yep, right when Green Lantern's like, "Oh, he's gonna kill us," he's like, "Yeah, you maim but don't kill, do you, Superman? Or do you, Clark?" And then yeah, he peeks through, which I thought that I kind of like that how he just
Oh,
kind of
I like that
cheated.
part for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, so they kind of like break down the situation about like how there's these weird devices, this and that. Batman's got a hold of one, and they try and formulate a plan from there. Um, yeah, then we actually after that we end up getting our first look at Darkseid. We have Desaad talking to Darkseid about how they're going to be taking over this world. They plan to terraform it. Basic supervillain stuff, and how
Hmm.
Superman or is like oh well, the humans have a Kryptonian on their planet, so how are we going to combat that? And then Darkseid just says begin the invasion, and then yeah, we start getting a bigger flood of parademons. Or
Yeah, this is what I really respect about this movie is the MCU building up this whole time to their big bad of Thanos. But we get our dark side right off the rip. And I've always liked that form of storytelling that they get this initial invasion like just right off the rip, and that's how the Justice League forms because they have to form or else everyone's effed. And
yeah,
Darkseid's coming in, he's kind of cocky as well. He thinks it's just going to be easy. He knows there's a Kryptonian, but he's like, okay, whatever, dude. I'm Darkseid.
yeah,
I'm just gonna go take over this planet real quick. So he kind of comes in half-assed and not really full force.
and I mean his plan probably could have worked. I mean, if it weren't for like future events in this movie that we'll start talking about, which yeah, definitely probably have a lot to say about that.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, so Batman, Superman, and Green Lantern are looking at the mother box, and again, I just love how cocky Hal Jordan is, and just his personality. Because his first instance is like, "Oh, well, this is a bad thing. Let's just destroy it." And right as he's about to hit it with one of his constructs, Batman stops him. He's like, "We don't even know what this is." He's like, "If you hit it, it could kill all of us." He's like, "Why don't you just calm down and think for a second?" And Green Lantern gets all pissy with him, just like, "Oh, you're not the boss of me." But then the boom tomb opens, a whole bunch of parademons come out, and this actually triggers this one, the one that Green Lantern, Batman, Superman are at, and also the one that's in Star Labs where Silas Stone is, and where Vic
uh,
Stone uh, shows up. And yeah, we just get a cool fight scene where Green Lantern's fighting a bunch of parademons along with Batman and Superman. And I will say, from what I noticed in that scene, Superman kills a lot of them. He's just like lasering them in half.
yeah. So that's always the thing about these disposable henchmen. Like parademons are harvested and made from real
Organic
living
matter, yeah.
creatures. So it's kind of like, are they redeemable? Is there a way to reverse engineer it? Or is there no hope and these guys are just totally lost, have no humanity, and it's okay to just completely disregard and dispose of them?
I mean, I think because they're so like monstrous and just, evil, like Superman gets a pass, but and they also don't know what they are. They could just be
Oh
aliens.
yeah. Yeah, for
But
sure. But
again,
that's
like
why I think they're going crazy. Like obviously they're trying to invade Earth, but like they would never they're slaughtering. So as a fan and knowing what we know, I would probably say it's okay to kill them.
oh yeah,
It is
it's
what
definitely
it
okay.
but I bring up that question just because it's kind of weird that they're just okay with it right off the rip and they're just going in.
Yeah. I
But I
mean,
mean, it's really not that big of a problem. I was just
no, it's
saying.
not. I mean, I was just more shocked to see like they took like a solid few minutes as Superman just like lasering through a bunch of them.
Yeah, they are aggressive with
And
it for
Superman
sure.
seemed like excited about just fighting.
Having fun. Yep.
I mean, this is a reference you won't get. But he in this instance reminds me of the main character from Dragon Ball Z, Goku, where
Oh my
he
God. Here
just
we go.
okay,
Here we
okay, okay.
go.
Listen, it's I'm not
With
gonna
your silly kids nowadays with their silly anime.
yeah, I'm not gonna go too into it, but it seems like Superman and Goku share the similar just thrill of just being in a fight. Like Superman just kind of like asking, well, telling the parademons like, "Is that all you got?" And just lasering through them, just fighting.
Yeah,
At times, there's a whole like dog pile on him, and he just lasered all of them at once, and he
yeah,
just seemed
that's
like
the thing about
excited in the fight. And I'm
my
like,
favorite
okay,
thing about Superman and his story is that he's been taught his whole life to hold back, to suppress, and be careful. He's literally this giant boulder living in a world of glass. But in situations like this, he can just let loose and it must feel so good for him, and that's why
Yeah.
he's so excited and has this thrill because he can finally be who he actually is and just let loose. It must just feel so good.
And he's also doing a good thing too, so it's, you know,
Yeah, he doesn't have to
he
be
wins on both, yeah,
careful.
he wins on both sides.
Yeah.
I mean, but I will, one thing I will say, just talking about, you know, Superman being careful, all this and that, is earlier I talked about how Wonder Woman was getting harassed by some protesters about causing like millions of dollars in damage. Superman levels like a few buildings like within his
Yeah.
first
Okay.
introduction and nobody says anything.
Hey, he values human life. He doesn't value human architecture.
But I mean, yeah, he just doesn't really care. He smashes through buildings. I mean, he takes a
That's
propane truck and uses it as a baseball bat and some parademons.
yeah. That's what I think about. I always think about that when I'm watching a superhero movie is the destruction and the like damage and the what is it called?
Collateral damage.
Yeah, like the property damage or like property costs. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I just always think about how much money it is to rebuild this, and it's insane.
Well, you probably only think of that because people are bitching and moaning about Man of Steel.
That's yeah, that's a whole new level. That is crazy. And
I
there's people in those buildings, so it's kind of crazy. I mean,
Well, I mean, from the buildings we saw, it seemed like people got out. So
uh, yeah. But and then at the end of BVS, we kind of see that's not the case, but or at the beginning.
yeah. Anyways, well,
Yeah.
we won't. Yeah, we'll do BVS another time. But yeah. So like once so while that's all going on with Superman, Green Lantern, and Batman, the mother box in Star Labs goes off, and parademons come in. There's an explosion. Vic Stone ends up merging with the mother box, and after a quick surgery, he's formed into Cyborg. And he has like a bulkier appearance at first, similar to what we got in Flashpoint.
Yeah, I really love the evolution of his look here and like how we get to it. And it happens pretty quickly, but I still like how it works, how it evolves.
Yeah, he ends up kind of like off screen fixing it and
Yeah.
making it
And even throughout the
more.
battle,
Yeah.
like yeah, like you said, it the mother box and like merging with him, it just grabs everything around him, like everything, and he's just this big Hulk type beast. And then as the parademons fight him, they chip away at it and they lose it, and it just gets sleeker and sleeker. And I really do like his final form in this. I like his look a lot.
Oh yeah, it's more reminiscent of the Teen Titans show, which I mean, if you're a DC fan, that should be your Cyborg.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if it's
Yeah.
not, then go rewatch Teen Titans. Not Teen Titans Go. The original Teen Titans. Watch it now. Yeah.
Yeah, I like how like the blue like I don't even know what it is. What would you call the blue like energy that is around him? It's like a liquid, but I like how it's
I call it a parasite. That's the way I
oh
saw it. It was
that's
like
good. I like
parasitic.
how and then I like how it reaches into his human side even in his final form.
Yeah.
Like it goes over his eye. I kind of like how the cyborg part kind of reaches into his human part too.
Yeah, it was a cool design choice, and I liked it a lot just because
Yeah.
that also showed that he doesn't have full control of the ability.
Yeah. It's a lot like the cyborg in Young Justice. I like he has that blue energy type thing too, where it kind of goes throughout his human side and his skin.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, I forgot about that
Yeah,
briefly.
it's very close to this version.
So yeah, I guess they got inspiration from this, since that last season was made well after this movie came out.
Hmm.
So we end up getting Billy Batson, going back to his home, and he tries to sneak in, well, into his foster home, and he tries to sneak back into his house. He's caught by, I believe Freddy is the one with the crutches, right?
Oh yeah, I'm not the biggest on
Yeah,
Shazam lore,
I'm
but
yeah.
yeah, that's yeah.
Okay, so he gets caught by him, and then they end up segueing outside through some course of events, and there's a parademon. Billy tries to protect his foster siblings and turns into Shazam.
Oh yeah, the scene where like he's just drinking milk or water or whatever it was, and the parademon runs through the backyard. That's actually kind of a horror movie vibes. It was pretty
Yeah, like
cool
kind of what the hell is that?
and
And then he goes
creepy.
to check it out, and then I believe he
And at
tries to
this
take it out with a
point,
bat.
yeah, at this point on first watch, I still wasn't sure if it was actually Shazam.
Yeah,
Like
first
I didn't
watch,
know
I
if
didn't
he
know who he
had.
was.
Yeah, I didn't think he got his powers yet, but
Because up until he got into the house, you never hear his name. Uh,
oh, true.
because he's just by himself.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, he's turns into Shazam, and the one thing that really surprised me upon rewatching this, and I had to double check it, uh, the voice actor for Shazam, like the act, not Billy Batson, but the actual hero Shazam, was
Yeah,
Sean
Sean
Astin.
Astin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did not
Isn't
know
that
that.
awesome?
I
Yeah,
did
that's
not
so
know that.
cool.
It's
What
glad
a
to see.
G.
It's glad to see Samwise Gamgee back in the role of doing something heroic. He was already the
Yeah.
hero in Lord of the Rings, and now he's a hero in this. That was something that
See,
I had to double check. I'm like that sounds familiar. I looked it up and like there's no way that's him. And then I was like, oh,
yeah, see,
it
that's so
is.
funny. You think the first thing you think of is Lord of the Rings, and the first thing I think of is the Goonies.
Yeah, yeah. I would have slapped you if you said Stranger Things. I was waiting for that.
Oh, oh wow, he is in Stranger Things, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
Oh
like
no,
the boyfriend
the
of
yeah,
one of
yeah,
the
you're right.
moms.
Bob or yeah, Bob.
Yeah, yep, Bob.
But yeah, he's a G dude. The Goonies is the shit, by the way.
Yeah, Goonies is great, but it's nothing compared to Lord of the
But yeah,
Rings.
Sean Astin, legend, and
Oh
he
yeah,
plays Shazam.
legendary actor. I'm
He's
glad.
the perfect guy to play a kid in a grown up body.
Yeah, his line delivery was fantastic. Like I still felt like I
Yeah,
was listening to the kid actor with just
yeah,
a different voice. Initially, when I watched the movie, I thought it was an adult actor doing a kid
yeah.
voice and then doing his regular voice afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was really seeing like confirming that for my own, just just to make sure it was true. It made me so happy just to see it. Um, yeah, so we move over to Wonder Woman helping out the president, who's being attacked by parademons on his private plane. And again, this is another hero who just kills parademons just without even hesitating, not trying to conversate. Like she takes out her sword and just starts cutting them in half and stabbing them.
See,
But
now I can understand. She's a warrior. She's a
yeah,
straight up warrior.
this version
She
is more of a
does.
warrior. I like that a
Yeah,
lot.
she does kill.
Yeah, she ends up taking out her sword like I'd say yeah, I'd say a
Yeah,
good amount of times, or maybe this
yeah.
whole
I
universe.
love Sword Wonder Woman.
I think she has her sword throughout this whole universe, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
and
And
Shield.
yeah,
Does she ever? Yeah.
um,
Does she ever shield in this movie? I mean, like, I didn't rewatch this. I'm just going straight off the dome from whenever the last time I watched it was.
I was just more focused on her cutting people up with the sword. I was just
Yeah.
yeah. So I
Either way.
either way, she might have had it on her back or something, but you know. Uh, so then Cyborg starts getting a grip on his powers a little bit more, and he's able to be more infused with the Mother Box, and just the link with him in the Mother Box, he's able to see Darkseid's plan to invade the Earth. So, and that's I'd say that's like a common trope. I mean, it seems like Cyborg always is in connection with like whatever Darkseid's doing because he is himself now a Mother Box.
Yeah.
So, just with well, I don't I was going to say sentience, but the Mother Boxes are sentient in their own right.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like no, never mind. Not gonna bring in any more anime. Um,
Oh,
I was
no,
gonna.
you might as well. We might have some little weeb fans.
Okay, yeah, we might have some Weeb fans, but
That's right. I'm talking to you, bitch. Come at me.
if you don't like Nick talking like that, you can talk to me. Um,
Yeah.
it's so again referencing Dragon Ball again. It's like the fusion technique, where two characters fuse together. They're one being, but
Oh wait,
yeah, yeah.
were you still talking?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I got like 20 seconds. Calm down. Um, when two characters form together to be one being, but each still has their own thoughts, but there's only one dominant persona. So the Mother Box may be helping influence or give information to Vic Stone, but Vic Stone is mainly in control, and he's able to just, take whatever the Mother Box gives him, whether it be physical upgrades or just plans about what Darkseid's doing, or just access to the whole, just technology in general on Earth. They're two beings, but together there's only one dominant persona.
Yeah, and I like it when the mother boxes are submissive more, and like they're not they're not like these parasites. They're not gonna like
Try and corrupt him.
yeah. They're kind of there for the user
Yeah,
because at the end of the day they are these tools.
yeah, that's true. And also, my Dragon Ball comment was not that bad. No need to pretend to snore over it. It
Oh
was
my
very
gosh,
light. It was easy. It helped get the point across.
it was a little harsh, but I had to do it.
It wasn't. Yeah, you were mean. Don't be a dick.
Sorry, love you.
All right. So we cut back to Batman, Superman, Green Lantern. They're kind of wrapping up their whole thing with the parademons, and then uh, we get Flash showing up in the picture, and which is kind of cool because Flash and Green Lantern seem to at least have run into each other, once or twice in the past. Like they seem kind of friendly.
Like
Uh,
they're classically throughout DC history the duo. They're always like together and they vibe well. They're like these two like just kind of goofballs.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
on the same. They're on the same wavelength.
And then this like this might be one of my, yeah, this might be one of my favorite scenes is where Green Lantern's like, "Oh yeah, that's Batman over there," and Flash is like, "Wait, he's real?" And Green Lantern's like, "Yeah, but he's kind of a douchebag." And Flash goes over and introduces himself, and Batman just is like, "Oh, Flash, I've read about your reports in Central City. You do tight, efficient work. Good job." And oh yeah, after he says that, that's when Green Lantern just says douchebag, which I thought was just great because
I
Flash
love
is
it.
like, he's like, "Hey, we're buddies. This guy's a dick," and then Batman just goes to just immediately compliment Flash, which in my mind, I'd like to think that Batman overheard the conversation because they weren't too far away, and he's just
Yeah.
like, "I just want to piss off Green Lantern."
Oh, no doubt. Like he's that type of guy that you love on the team, but if he was on the other team, you would hate him. And like that, he's that Michael Jordan type persona. Like he is a dickbag, and his teammates probably won't always like him, but at the end of the day, he's the goat,
Yeah,
and he's necessary, and he's a good leader, and everyone respects him. But
I mean, I will say I love Hal Jordan in this movie, but I feel like they sprinkled in a little bit of Guy Gardner, just as far as like the
mm,
cockiness and just just thinking he's all that, and you know, but
yeah, and
I like
early,
it.
yeah, and earlier you mentioned how he was kind of like a lot like Kyle Reiner as far as constructs go. So
Oh yeah, I
you're kind of thinking this Green Lantern is a
he's a mashup
an
of like,
amalgamation
yeah, an amalgamation, yeah,
of like all of them.
and yeah, because I saw him like to save the woman. He made like a safe construct. He did a dragon, and then in the
Like
warehouse
an
when the
elevator.
yep, oh yeah, the elevator, yep, um, in the warehouse when the mother box first went off and the portal opened. We see him use a mech suit, which is pretty cool. Which in
Mm.
comics he's used before, but still almost
Yeah,
more
because
along the
Hal
lines of
Jordan being a military pilot, he uses a lot of military, you know,
yeah, that's yeah.
weaponry.
Him and John Stewart both do.
Yeah, John Stewart's also very much like that. You're right.
Yeah, and so Wonder Woman shows up along with all the other heroes and kills some parademons trying to fly in on them. And another great scene after she lands and kind of introduces herself as Diana, uh, Green Lantern, just like, oh, she's hot, dibs, and like starts to walk over to her. And as he's like just about to say something, Superman floats down and just gives him a
Yeah,
glare, like,
and just
no.
cucks them.
Yeah, he just cucks him. He's like, no, no, buddy. He's like, you're out of your league. And Green Lantern just kind of like looks all sad.
Yeah, this Superman is he's a unique one.
He is, and I mean, him and Diana actually kind of vibe a bit in the future
Yep.
movies, and it's interesting. I like the whole take on it, and I mean, yeah, Green Lantern. I feel bad for him though. I mean, he saw her first.
Yeah,
He should have at least been able to shoot his shot. I mean,
I've
Superman just
never
flew
liked
in.
that. I mean, I like the idea of like them being all fascinated with Wonder Woman being this hot goddess because she literally is a hot goddess. But I never liked the idea of always like shipping her with another Justice League member. It's
Well,
just kind of weird and seems forced.
oh, so you're
I,
like
I d-
the people in South Park when they found out that PC principal and vice principal or strong woman were
yeah.
hooking up, and you're like, oh, you work together? Oh, and they all just start throwing up just at the thought of
Oh
it.
yeah.
So that's you with the Justice League. Anyone who ships together is
Yeah, I
just
guess
gross.
I can see super. I can see it with Superman more so than Batman. She gets shipped with her and Batman get together a lot throughout, medium.
Well,
I don't know how I feel about it
I mean,
because
but you're okay with Hawkgirl getting together with Martian Manhunter.
yeah, that's not on the same level.
Yeah, and you're
Like
fine with her kid as well, right?
Superman has Lois Lane, and Batman. I like Batman being single, like not being able to have a wife or want one because they'll put her in danger. And just, I mean, I want him to be happy. I do like him with Catwoman though.
I
I
don't think
think
he'll ever be happy. I mean,
that's the only person I like him with is
I
Catwoman.
think Batman's just better off being
And then
just
Wonder
a
Woman
moody
has Steve
bitch.
Trevor, but she doesn't really need no man.
I mean, in the last movie we reviewed in Flashpoint, she hung him slowly in the air. So is that love, Nick?
Uh, oh, let's just say that's a different universe. But yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah. We
also,
still saw it
you
though.
little, hey, shut up. I'm not gonna overlook the fact that a little bit ago I was gonna go breeze right by it, but you brought up Hot Girls and Martian Manhunter's kid.
Yeah.
And for all those people out there listening, if you know, you know. And I'm just saying, don't look up. I mean, don't type into Google Hot Girl and Martian Manhunter's kid. Do not look that up. Because if you do, you'll have nightmares.
Yeah, that's true nightmare fuel. I should not have said anything, but I did, and yeah,
Yeah.
now I'm thinking about that. Now I don't think I can continue on with this podcast.
Yeah,
Damn
don't
it.
be surprised if you don't even hear this part and it's cut out of the video.
You're not cutting this out, you son of a bitch. Uh Alright, so we get Darkseid showing up, and yeah, he's just intimidating. There's a portal that
I
pops up
like
in the ocean,
Yeah, I
and
like how in the notes here you have I like how Darkseid is like 20 feet tall.
yeah, yeah. He's yeah, he's pretty large. Um
He's a dense human being for sure.
yeah, so he shows up, and again, I feel like I just talk about Green Lantern the whole time, and I will continue to, because
because you're
Green
a Green
Lantern,
Lantern stan.
exactly. But Green Lantern's like, he's like, oh, let me handle this. He flies over to Darkseid, tries to attack him.
Yeah,
Darkseid backhands him into like 3 buildings,
yeah, and then
and
all
then
those
parademons
parademons
hop on top.
just beat on them.
Yeah.
That might be the one of the funniest moments in superhero shows
Oh yeah.
ever,
Yeah.
ever.
Green Lantern's
I'll
acting
say
all
it.
cocky, and he just
The
gets
comedic
slapped, and
timing.
then just parademons immediately hop on
Yeah,
him
it's
and
like
start punching him
3 or
like crazy
4
until
just
Flash
come in and
saves
just
him.
punch them
Yeah.
really fast. And the editing, it's so good. That's gold. I definitely laughed my ass off the first time I watched. And
So yeah,
that is so Green Lantern to think he can take it because he's the guardian of Earth. He's a universe level superhero. He's
that's the
like,
thing.
dude, I'm literally Green Lantern, motherfucker. I'm gonna come and
I
get
mean,
this ass.
there's even a line, or like in the beginning of this movie where he's trying to talk to Batman, and Batman, he's like, I'm Green Lantern, damn it, I could do anything, and Batman's just like, anything except for shut up, and Green Lantern gets all pissed off and sad, and I was just like,
Yeah.
this is a great movie. This is
Uh,
fantastic.
yeah, he gets his reality checked often.
Yeah. But then we get the rest of the league trying to take out. Oh, sorry, I missed
Yep.
a part. Shazam shows up and tries to introduce himself, this and that, and he realizes or recognizes Vic Stone. He's like, "Oh, you're Victory Stone," and Vic's like, "I'm not that guy anymore because I'm a monster. I'm
And
metal
I'm
now."
depressed.
And again, that's always the first arc of like
Yeah, I
Cyborg.
don't
He's
hate
just
it.
like, I don't hate it, but
Just at this point, we've seen it quite a bit
I've seen it like
within,
6 times. It's like,
yeah, in like Doom Patrol and the Snyder Cut. We saw it a little. Well, we saw it in the original Justice League, and we're gonna see it even more.
we saw it in
And
why am I spacing on the name? Young Justice.
yeah,
Uh,
very much so in Young Justice. He is very fucked up there.
yeah, it's like,
And then we see it in this movie. I mean, that's just 4 or 5 right off the top of the dome.
exactly. It's like, oh, I'm all robotic. I'm moody. Oh,
And those are all in recent years too. So
I'd say within a decade,
yeah, within a decade, if not less. So
which is it's a little much, but yeah.
he's a
So
new character, and DC's really trying to promote him, and he really is a good character.
he can be. He can be.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, Shazam's there as well. But then after Green Lantern just gets mollywopped by Darkseid, uh, each league member tries to attack him at the same time. Darkseid shoots some Omega beams at Superman and Flash, and I like how the beams split off and they follow each individual character. And as soon as Darkseid shoots the beams, Flash is just like, "We got to move fast," and Superman's like, "Not a problem for me." And we get a cool scene of like Flash running away from it and Superman, but Flash is actually able to avoid it. Superman, he gets hit by it, and
Mm.
then he's down and out for the count. Then we get some parademons picking him up and bring him to this giant tower that was just formed up out of the water next to the portal that Darkseid showed up in. And we'll be seeing him at some point. I mean, what are your opinions on like the Omega beams? Because isn't it if you're hit by like basically if you get hit by those and you're more or less so mortal, you're erased from history?
Yeah, so I mean that's in some incarnations. Obviously, it's not in this one. Obviously, in this one, it definitely seems to me more of like a Superman type laser, but a little bit more impactful.
Well, nobody
But
else got hit by it in this movie
yeah,
except for Shazam, who in
yeah,
certain incarnations is stronger than Superman just because he has the
yeah,
whole magic aspect of
magic
himself.
aspect,
Yeah.
and also like I remember in the original animated series, the show Justice League, like Darkseid, like no one's ever outrun the Omega beams until Batman does like once, and he's like, "Holy shit, you're the first person to ever not get hit by my Omega beams." But in this one, Flash does it right away, I think, and then someone else does that too, I believe. I'm not sure, but and then yeah, Superman gets hit obviously, but he's like, I mean, he gets hurt pretty bad, and for it to be Superman and he's down for the count, and to be able to carry him to get harvested, that's I mean, that's a pretty intense beam, but it is
Yeah.
kind of OP if they do make the beams, because I always thought I remember them being like, if they hit you, you get sent to like another universe or something, or like disintegrated. But yeah,
Yeah, that
but
happened in the comics with Batman when he shot Darkseid with, you know, some sort of bullet, some
yeah,
god-killing bullet,
the
and
God
then
Killer, yeah.
yeah, and then also happened in the animated series. Or no, that was no, that was not that. That was Toy Master sending him back in time.
Yeah, but yeah, I think I like the idea of the Omega Beams being a little less OP, because then he can use them more often, which solves the question of why doesn't he use them more often if they're so OP.
It could be taxing on his body, this and that. Who knows, like
Yeah,
what?
blah blah blah. But he uses them a lot in this, and I like it.
That's
Because
the
why
thing.
wouldn't
As
he?
far as like DC stuff, we know just so many different like yeah
Variations.
variations of like limits of what characters can do that
That each universe has to set their own
you
stakes
just kind
and
of have to wait
limits.
and see what a character can do, then just take it at base
Yeah,
form. Be like, okay, this is what this power can do at this universe. So,
yeah,
but yeah, the heroes try and fight Darkseid some more. Hal Jordan goes back to fight Darkseid, and he ends up just getting his hand caught by Darkseid, and yeah, Green Lantern's arm just gets squeezed and broken.
yeah. That
So
part's pretty hard to watch.
yeah, and again,
It's like,
Darkseid, he's like
ooh,
20 feet
fuck.
tall, and one of his fingers is like the length and width of Green Lantern's arm, but
Yeah,
he just squeezes it and breaks every bone, and then he kind of just, saunters off, leaving the group to just kind of regroup and try and figure out a plan. And now they kind of understand that we need to work together, and maybe that's our best bet.
come together.
And
Yeah, I'm
yep,
not gonna sing.
yep, demonetized again. Thanks, Nick. Thank you. But yeah, as then we get a very nice clip, which I found to be fantastic, of Green Lantern just being cocky as all hell. He's ready to go and fight again, even with a broken arm. He makes a cast construct just to support his arm,
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
Batman stops him, and he's like, Lantern, he's like, we're more alike than you think, and Green Lantern's like, oh, we're nothing alike. And Batman takes off his cowl, shows him his true face, and he's like, my name is Bruce Wayne. My parents were murdered in an alley when I was a kid. I vowed, nothing. No one has to go through that. The same way I did. And he's like, me and you are basically humans. We're fighting against a speedster, a cyborg, Amazonian, and a god. And he's like, we have no place in being here. He's like, you need to think more with your head and not, just throwing yourself into a fight. And I thought that was a great moment. And I was really surprised at that because Batman's been
Yeah.
basically shitting on Green Lantern the whole movie, but he
Oh,
reveals his
Batman.
identity. I mean, that was just
Yeah.
like,
Oh, he doesn't do that too often. So when he does, he trusts the person.
again, yeah, this is someone he met and has been with for the course of like a couple
Yeah.
hours. So for that to happen, that was just really something to see, and it was awesome.
Yeah. I think he's been testing him for sure.
Yeah, I think he's definitely been testing him. It's just a matter like the way if I were to be looking at it, I don't see that Hal necessarily passed all the tests because he's just been,
Yeah.
he's just been
So
a
maybe Batman's just fucking him with him then.
Well, I feel like that Bruce is able to see the potential in Green Lantern.
Yeah.
He's like, listen, he's like, we're similar. You just need to calm down and not just be so hard headed. And he's like, yeah. And then he tells him to go lead the team as he puts on some old jacket that he found on the ground and lets the parademons take him. And Green Lantern's like, where are you going? It's Batman's just like, well, Batman just says, oh, I'm going to get our big gun as he's carried off to the tower in an attempt to rescue Superman.
And that is so badass. It's such a Batman thing to do.
Oh, yeah, and like how calm and confident he was.
Oh yeah, he's not scared.
He's not, but like he already knows exactly what he's going to do. I mean, again, the voice acting and the delivery by um Jason O'Mara, like it's fantastic. I'm really happy he's Batman. Uh Again, if we didn't have Kevin Conroy, this would be my Batman.
Yep, I agree.
I mean, do you think that it was smart for well, not smart, but do you think well, how do you feel about the decision for Batman to unmask himself in front of a person he's known for less than a day?
I mean, if he knew who Superman's real identity was, I assume he already knew who Green Lantern was and what a Green Lantern is, and he knows who Hal Jordan is. So, I mean, I trust Batman in anything.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
don't think Batman ever makes a bad decision. So,
I mean, I don't think he necessarily knows who Hal Jordan is, even though he did name drop him because, again, which I missed, when he took off his cowl and was talking to him, he refers to Green Lantern as Hal,
mm,
and Green Lantern says, "How'd you know?" He's like, I read it on your flight suit, which is referring back to the beginning of the movie when he took off his ring and Hal Jordan was just in his flight suit,
yeah,
which was a
true.
cool callback, and this movie does really well, like kind of backtracking itself, and they make like a reference to something that happened like half an hour
Yeah,
or at the start of the movie, but they don't.
callbacks.
Yeah, they have great callbacks, but they don't harp on it. It's like a quick 2 second thing, and then if you
Yeah,
look
no,
back, you're like,
they
oh,
don't treat
awesome.
us. They don't treat the audience like idiots.
Which I just wish like major studios and everything would do with us.
Yep,
I don't need everything just force
spoon
fed
fed.
to me. Yeah,
Yep.
it's more force fed in my opinion. I mean, me being a DC fan, I don't want it, but they just shove it down my throat anyways.
Yeah, I know it's pretty frustrating to have to sit through origin stories time after time, and that's all we get for solo movies, and we never get the real storylines we want to see. But one day, hopefully.
Hopefully. So I'm gonna be jumping around a bit right here, but uh, Batman ends up getting to the facility that Superman is held at, and he finds out that Desaad, Darkseid's main henchman, is just trying to, turn Superman evil. The normal process of turning humans into parademons isn't working, so they're trying something else, which gives Batman time to dispose of Desaad. Batman is able to figure out the controls and free Superman, but oh no, we get an evil Superman for a little bit, which cool. He's got the same kind of parasitic blue lines through his body that Cyborg did, but we get a little battle between
Oh
them
yeah, you're
until
right. He does, doesn't he?
yeah, we get a
And I
little
okay, yeah, I will say we skipped over it. Well, we didn't skip over it. It's not that big of a deal. But when Batman figures out the controls, it's this alien tech, and he's just like, oh, okay, well, he's right-handed, and so if he's right-handed, that means the power buttons here.
yeah.
And he just figures it out like that, and he's so sure to just click it. So I mean, that's just so awesome. It's just these small details that make Batman Batman.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up. I honestly was going to gloss over it, but yeah, that just also just proves the point that, this is the world's greatest detective, whether it
Hell
be
yeah.
alien tech or human tech. Just give him like 2 seconds, he'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, but him and Superman fight for a bit, and well, Batman's dodging Superman's attacks. Not really a fight, and he keeps trying to bring him back to his normal self, and he's like Martha, 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 and then that works. No, I'm just kidding.
I
No,
was like, oh wait, oh shit, did I forget that
no,
happened?
no, there was no Martha. That was all
Okay, okay.
thanks to Zack. But Zack Snyder,
Which is an overblown reason. I mean, people hate that way more than it should
if
be
you
hated.
understand the context, it's fine. If you
Yeah,
don't, then you're
but if you
dumb.
take it at face level,
If you take it at
okay,
face level, then you're dumb. I'm gonna call everyone out. So.
sure. Fuck it, dude. Fuck it, dude. Fuck it, dude.
But yeah, so they sort things out, and then beforehand we have uh, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Flash, Green Lantern, and Shazam, um, all trying to work out a plan to stop Darkseid, and they realize that his biggest threat is his Omega beams, the lasers he shoots out of his eyes. So
Yep.
the best course of action, Wonder Woman says, is, oh, we should blind him. So
And yeah, I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. I mean, it's a simple plan, and
Yep.
this is where they all realize, like, hey, listen, we all need to work together. Which, it's not like they come up with a plan, they just say work together, so that basically means, in the sense of
Yeah.
this story, is like attack all at once. So, they end up, just fighting Darkseid, and, yeah, Wonder Woman is able to stab Darkseid in one of his eyes with her
Yeah,
sword.
it's pretty. I mean, what we're talking about right now is like what the last like 15 minutes of the movie. They get both of his eyes pretty fast,
Oh yeah,
and I'll just chalk that up to Darkseid coming in cocky and underestimating, and then he hasn't fought a group of
this
people
many
like this
metas, yeah.
before. Yeah,
Like
and
superpowered individuals, he hasn't actually experienced like fighting multiple at once, or if any at all. Like from knowing his, we don't know much
yeah,
about him in this universe, so.
so yeah, I'm definitely on board with this.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. We get some cool scenes of Shazam, Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, all just doing coordinated attacks, attacking Darkseid when he's in the ocean, as he's trying to flee back to Apocalypse. Uh, and then we get a really cool scene of Flash just running to the mainland and drawing Darkseid in. He steals a crowbar from just some random person, says, "Oh, I need to borrow this," and
Rip
ends
Jason Todd. He stole
that.
it from Jason Todd's dad.
Oh boy,
Oh boy.
maybe that's a good callback. Um, but he ends up stealing a crowbar and putting the pointy end into Darkseid's eye, like
Which
somewhat blinding him. I guess he could kind of see out of that one eye, but
I don't know.
oh no,
I mean,
he's
obviously he
pissed.
can. Obviously he can in the future of this universe, so
Yeah, so
he heals somehow, but it's just temporary, I
I think
guess.
the crowbar was like kind of just like the way I saw it shot too is like the stab in the eye from Wonder Woman's sword was like right into his eye. The crowbar was like a little above his eye.
Oh, really?
That's what it seemed like from the animation, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
But then yeah, once he's like kind of blinded, Cyborg kind of links with the mother box and is able to open up a boom tube to teleport.
A shit ton of boom tubes.
Yeah, he opened. Oh, he does. Yep, yep. He opened to get all the parademons out of the way,
Yeah, it's
and then
wild.
it sucks them all
Like,
out.
yeah.
And then he tries to get one for Darkseid to send him back to Apocalypse. But the issue is he's running out of power, and Superman shows up with Batman, um, and they help Wonder Woman try and push Darkseid through the boom tube. But yeah, again, Cyborg's running out of power, and Darkseid's pushing out of the boom tube. And one thing I will say, I mean, 20-foot Darkseid, he's eating hits from Wonder Woman, The Flash, and Superman. Like,
Yeah,
just eating them like nobody's business.
he's a bad motherfucker.
I mean, I'm just surprised he was able to, like, hold on for that long.
While being blind.
Exactly. He's got blood pouring into both of his eyes, but yet he's still able to just, suck it up and just not be sucked through. Like, this is the point where he's like, okay, I really have to try now.
But it's too late by then.
Yeah. As Cyborg's running out of power, Shazam flies up to him and figures out a way. He's like, oh, I can get you more power. He holds on to Cyborg's hand and says the magic word Shazam as a bolt of lightning strikes down and charges up Cyborg. Billy Batson's kid form falls to the ground, and Cyborg's able to open up the boom tube more. And Superman is able to push Darkseid through the portal, and yeah, Cyborg scoops up Billy Batson, and yeah, everything seems to be good at this point.
They did it.
Yeah, they did.
Our Justice League. They grew up so fast.
Yeah, I mean, I liked how they all worked as a team to like push him through. Everyone did their own part, and it was all kind of slapstick together. But at the end of the day, they, worked as a team, which I liked.
Yeah, and this movie had the job to set up the rest of the universe, which isn't an easy feat, especially within the context of the runtime, which is an hour and 19 minutes, which is nothing.
Which is nothing, and you're introducing like
the whole Justice League, 7 characters and
biggest bad, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
but they do it well. They handle it well. They portion it off well. The pacing's good.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk more about that towards the end, but so everything seems to be good. We then get a cut to the now formed Justice League.
The 7 or the Super 7.
Yeah.
What does Shazam say?
He says the Super 7.
Yeah. So it's like the 7 from the boys.
They're all getting acknowledgement from the president and just a whole bunch of other people, and they're just like, oh well, people don't fear us anymore. Maybe if there's something like this bad happening, we should band together. And Shazam gives the name of, or the president asks, like, what should we call you? And Shazam just, being an adult or being a kid in an adult's body is just like the Super 7. And there's just like, everyone at once just chimes in like, oh, what? No, really? Come on. Like, the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah, everyone, I mean, I thought he was going to say Justice League. And then
I did too.
Super 7. It caught me off guard. It's like,
I even forgot, and I was like, I thought he was going to say, like, the Super Friends or something like that, but he's like, yeah, the Super 7. I was just like, and everyone just kind of shits on Shazam for that, so. But, yeah, and then credits start to roll, and we get a post-credit scene.
Oh, I love me some post-credit scenes.
Oh, yeah. And we get a post-credit scene of Ocean Master.
Yeah.
Rising up to the surface, holding a body in his arms, and declaring war on the Surface War because the Atlantean King is dead. And then, yeah, the movie closes out with some art, which I believe was by Jim Lee.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that was the end of the first movie of first end of the first movie of a lot more we're going to be covering. So.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And Ocean Master is actually voiced by the same guy that voiced Darkseid in this movie.
Really?
I don't know if he does in the next movie, Throne of Atlantis, which is the next movie. Wait, is it? Or we got Batman?
Nope. It's Son of Batman is the next one, I believe.
True, I guess it's a little. which yeah, that's kind of weird. I think it's just the timeline,
Yeah, it
but
seemed like seeing this post credit scene, I assume that it would segue right into
yeah,
Throne of Atlantis,
yeah,
but it seems like Son of Batman is the next one, and then we get Throne of
yeah.
Atlantis. So
Chronologically, yeah, it is what it is. We gotta go by what they say.
I guess so. I mean, yeah, so that was Justice League War. I mean, what were your thoughts on the whole thing, Nick?
I've seen it quite a bit of times, and I remember the first time I watched it. I mean, I really liked it. It lived up to the old show that I used to watch and love, which is a hard thing to live up to. But this movie definitely did it, and it was all the characters I know and love, and it's the movie. It's everything I wish the original Justice League show or movie by Joss Whedon was.
Exactly. I was going to say the
Yeah,
same thing.
I
They were
mean the
able to do
parallels
so
of the
much more.
storyline is just
Oh, the parallels are like
yeah,
uncanny, but like the fact that I felt like this movie introduced so many characters,
yeah,
just but we actually got to relate to them more than
yeah,
what Josh Whedon gave us.
yeah, no
So
doubt.
this should have been our Justice League.
Yeah, and it could have been. They're really scared to adapt past storylines, which I don't know why.
Yeah, I love this movie. I love the character design. I
Mm,
love the pacing, the flow. I love the comedic elements of it. I love the action,
yeah,
and yeah, this movie it's got me just excited to watch the next ones, even more so knowing what to expect because I've seen all the other movies. So I just, can't wait and I just really want to hop into and just discussing all the other
yeah.
movies.
No, at this point in my DC fandom, I am exhausted from origin movies and origin stories. Like, yes, I know who these characters are. I just want to get into the meat and bones. And now that we have this first movie done, we can finally get to the meat and bones.
And this movie wasn't even heavy on origins at all. Like it just
No, it's
threw
not.
us right in. I mean,
It's just like the forming of the Justice League, and it's like, yeah, okay, okay. I
yeah,
don't. It's not. I'm not knocking the movie on that at all. Because at the time, I mean, obviously, I love it.
I liked how the Justice League was just like formed out of necessity. And like
Yeah,
everyone happened to be dealing with the same problem at the same
yeah.
time.
It's not just like kind of
So,
out of the blue.
yeah, I mean like in Justice League, like the live action movie, like they were planning for this attack. In this movie, it was like, oh, well, I'm dealing with parademons. Someone's like, well, I'm dealing with them too. It's like, well, okay, we all have a problem with the parademons. Let's just form together and, or let's work together and just, And it's not until the very end of the movie they're actually labeled as a team. Because even when the president was like thanking him for their help, they still weren't like fully sure on like forming as a team.
Yeah, this was a one-time thing in their mind.
Yeah, in their mind, yeah. But spoiler alert, they will not be doing this just one time. We still have a few more instances where we'll be
Thank
seeing
God, too.
reoccurring characters, and it only gets better from here.
Stuff. This is peak DC, and this is why DC over Marvel all day.
Oh yeah, 100%. And Sean Astin is so much better of a Captain Marvel than Brie Larson.
Oh, there it is. Oh
I
my
I
God.
had to say
I,
it.
I
Samwise
almost thought
Gamgee over Brie Larson any day.
I almost thought we were gonna go through a through a video without you mentioning that. So I'm glad
No,
you
no.
did.
Anytime there's Shazam, I have to say it. I have to.
Oh God.
But yeah, that's gonna be our video today. Thank you for watching, and yeah, feel free to like and subscribe.
Yep, and follow us on all forms of social media at Nerdy Cinephiles. We can't wait to talk to you guys on those platforms. Comment below what you want us to react to next, and I think that's it for today.
That'll be it.